Hello, friends, family, fans. Welcome to Back Nine Bets, episode 13. Bergers and Grillo'd Hoge sandwiches. Yes, that is quite a title for the podcast, but I like it. I like it. It's one of my favorites so far. So, yes, we got some fun things. We got some outright placings, first round leaders. We have some fun news about the first round leaders. I was up late last night and some interesting things happened. FanDuel put out a first round leader slate that was incorporating the entire field, although the field is playing on two separate courses with two very drastically different scoring opportunities. So we took advantage of that, and it's beautiful. We'll get to that. We got some placings. We're going to just do a quick recap of yesterday. Last week, where we got a little bit schneid by a certain Cameron Young. So let's take a look-see. We pretty much made out even last week at the American Express, but I just want to show you y'all, if Cameron Young didn't shoot a 77 as a professional golfer, if he just shoots a 74 and finishes 25th, we make ourselves a whopping 5 units of profit, 5.2 units. But no, he shoots a 77 and finishes 40th outside the top 30 at plus 400. Giant kick in the nuts. Brutal stuff. It's okay. We still kind of limited the damage in a field that I don't think I'll be betting on placing wise next year. It was a disaster. Those amateurs, just the whole format is a mess. So we're going to give that one a tiny skip next year. Remind me to remind myself. Other than that, let's tune in to this week's golf tournament. It is going to be a whopping, just stacked with studs and just beautiful stuff. We got everybody that we could wish for in an event that's not even a major, but it's a big one. So we like to see that with some Jon Rahm, Justin Thomas, Bryson DeChambeau, Xander, Sam Burns, all the boys. Dustin Johnson even decided to show up. So we'll see what he can get up to. Lots of fun things to talk about. We're going to be diving through the model today. I do like this approach. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't know. Let's see what goes on. First up, we got Jon Rahm. He's amazing. We know that. I mean, just look at all the pink and yellow. And also, by the way, I'm just going to describe some stuff here quickly. This is the strokes gained total, baseline over like a year and a half, and then his last 24. Off the tee, same thing. Approach, same thing. A very important key stat this week is the proximity ranges from 175 to 250 yards. Let's go to the key stats over here. Zoom in a little bit, not looking at what happened last month. But anyway, here's the key stats, and you can see 19%, 18% from 150 to 200, and then a massive chunk from 250 plus, which screams certain players to me. Some guys are really impressive from that range. So if you just take that, I can't see the total, but it's a lot of, it's like, call it 70% of the shots take place outside of 150 from the flag, which is it's a long golf course. It's a very long golf course. They're playing on the two different courses. Okay. That's the South course, the tough course, the difficult one, the one that they played the US Open at, blah, blah, blah. You all know that. You've seen all the podcasts. The other course is the North course, easier. That's where we got all our first round leaders. And you know what? Let's just get to that right away, because I was very excited about this. I was up last night and FanDuel put down their slate, and it was a slate that included Tony Finau, Sam Burns, Daniel Berger at 37-1, plus 3,700 to be a first round leader out of everybody in the field. Jon Rahm, Justin Thomas, I think DJ, and a few other big studs were on the other course, on the south side, which is difficult. And I did some scooping through Data Golf, and guess what? On the North course, since there's been data available for this tournaments in 2015, which I believe is 14 rounds of round one and round two, out of those 7 years, those 14 rounds, not a single golfer from the south side has been a solo first round leader or a solo owner of the lowest score of that day. It's always been a north side easy course guy, maybe a south side guy tied. That's it. That's the best they could do, was tie all the other guys, and it would be one dude who had a career day on that course. And then there's a massive gap of like no strokes gain data because the North course doesn't have strokes gain data. So it's just incredible. So anyway, Tony Finau is just a horseful course. He has finished like his strokes gain total at Torrey Pines in general is fantastic. He's been a first round leader at the short course before in the past. Sam Burns is a first round stud muffin for us. We love him. At 37-1. So once they changed the odds and split it into the two different courses, I believe it was like a 24 or a 20 that you could find on these guys. I think Tony was actually 14. So they made a bit of a mistake there. We capitalized on that. And it's a bit of a crazy day because I'm on another podcast tonight with some friends that we'll be sharing later on this afternoon. It's going to be a great time doing that. So this is why we're going live at noon. Lots of fun stuff going on. I'm excited. I try to make this quick, but I'm just rambling away again. Daniel Berger is also, he gets a little faded when you get to longer courses. That's a general stereotype with Daniel Berger. He is an incredible golfer, but his distance off the tee hits like these low bullets, which if you're a little errant at the South course, it can get caught up in the big, luscious rough and stop a lot of that rollout that he generates. And then he's a lot further back, and he's just handicapping himself by the type of ball flight he has, I think, at least off the tee. But he is coming in with some incredible irons, and I guess on the north course, he's going to excel. He's going to do great things over there for us. Daniel Berger is a stripe show central. He just absolutely hammers the irons, and he's leading the field in the last 24 rounds coming into this event. And we've got Justin Thomas and Jon Rahm in this field, so we know how well those guys stripe the ball. Anyway, so Daniel Berger, I love these three guys at 37-1. If someone on the south side does shoot a low score, we're out of luck. But the chances of him being a solo leader on the south side are slim. It's never happened since 2015. So that's what we like about this bet. Aaron Wise is one of the most complete golfers at this event. That's not an elite player. And then Charlie Hoffman, he seemed to pop in this model. He likes the California side. He's got the golden locks, beach bum vibes. Charlie Hoffman does some crazy things. He's been off of golf for a while, so maybe he's recharged. He ended his season last year really badly. Kind of form deteriorated as he was going along. And the same thing could be said for Brand Snedeker, who has also had himself a career time at this golf course. He loves this golf course. He plays well here almost every year. 80-1 on the shorter course where he just will excel. So we love these first round leader bets. I don't know what the numbers are out there once they've split them in half. For the getting to the two different courses. But if you like what you saw there, go and find some guys. Unfortunately, they've changed that since I found that last night. That's what you get when you're just a lonely guy that just looks at golf betting odds all the time. So some things sometimes benefit you there. So anyway, let's get to the model. Let's get to the show. Let's get to what's going on here today. We've got 7 places. Got 4 top 20s and 3 top 40s. Love what's going on there. Jon Rahm, obviously, we've spoke about him enough. I mean, just look at these numbers. His worst numbers are 37th in the field, and that's his approach game in the last 24 rounds, which came from a wedge fest. I think a lot of these numbers can be skewed from the wedge fest at the American Express. His wedges aren't that good relative to the rest of his game. He's outside the top 50 in proximity with the wedges. Once it gets longer, he gets inside the top 10 in pretty much every range, and it's incredible. I mean, look at the 175 to 250, second in the field behind JT, who, if you think about Justin Thomas and you think about the Ryder Cup, all you're thinking about is him just nuking 5-woods, just nuking 3-irons onto the greens on par 5s from 250. He's so precise from so far away, Justin Thomas. And that's what I really like about him at this golf course. And guess what? In this column over here, let me move it out the way just for the meantime. This is taking the golfer's baseline putting and minusing the POA ranking from that. So if you're getting a big old pink and green number over here, like Justin Thomas, it means that he putts a lot better on POA. That's just kind of the thing there. So a lot of pink in that column means better putters on POA. That's the majority of the grass on the greens at the 3 out of the 4 rounds. And obviously, if you're betting on a guy like Justin Thomas, you're hoping he's going to be there for all 4 rounds. So that's the situation there. Cool. He's 13% owned in DraftKings, and I love that. We're probably going to go there. Jon Rahm at 27%. You know, it's tough. It's a tough decision to make because he's so really good. He's so impressive in all the, like, his course history is great. His game fits this course. It's just a great thing. So I don't know about Jon Rahm, but let's talk about Justin Thomas. I mean, everything about him, including his putting at this course, is better. His around the green game is incredibly impressive, and that's what you're going to need from guys at this golf course. I'm so dear Makar right now that I haven't explained what we need at this course. We want guys that are just going to be really good off the tee. You know, like if your strokes gained off the tee is because you're accurate, then cool. Then you're in the fairway, hitting long irons in, whatever. If it's because you nuke it off the tee, perfect. We'll take that as well. So just generally, strokes gained off the tee, however you want to do it, like Brandt Snedeker, he just stays in the fairway, hopefully. Bang. You know, that's why he does well. Yeah. Also, he's around the green game and he's putting exceptional stuff. So that's what we like to see here. And obviously, on back 9 bets, we love the stripe shows. The approach game specialists, Daniel Bergers, Justin Thomas's, Jon Rahm's, blah. All right. So now that you get that, Justin Thomas is probably going to be one of our players at the top of the board. 13% owned this guy. He's been playing incredible golf. You know, look at his strokes gained total for the last 24 rounds. Coming into this field, he is in first place. Ahead of Jon Rahm. You know, like, I don't know. Jon Rahm's playing really well at double the ownership percentage. I'm down for JT. Down for some JT. Next up, in third place in the model is Bryson DeChambeau, the beefcake Hulk machine. This guy is the first thing I think about when I come to Bryson. He's our first outright, 22-1 on DraftKings. Bryson DeChambeau, he was in contention to win the US Open at this very course last year and just had himself a beefcake moment where he just 5-chipped a million times on that par 5 on the back 9, a back 9 blowout, we like to call it. Big old Bryson blowout. It was tough to watch. A lot of people did it on that par 5. That par 5 was a killer. It was an absolute killer last year at the US Open. So hopefully that's the first thing I think about. If he can just avoid that kind of nonsense, he's going to be in contention. Yes, the around the green game is a bit of a concern. Okay, we are aware of that. We are very aware of that. However, his approach game from 175 to 250 isn't that hot inside the 200-yard range. But once you get to like 200 plus, that's where Bryson DeChambeau excels. At 18% of the shots on this course from 250 plus. And we know he can hit irons from that yardage. So he has a massive advantage into these par 5s because he can just hit it so far off the tee, and then his irons from that yardage, he can, you know, really attack the pins when other guys are coming in with 5 woods and such. So that's what we really like about Bryson. His par 5 scoring is incredible. His distance off the tee is incredible. And he does a lot of his strokes gained total through the driver. And he's a really good putter as well. So, yes, we like Bryson in general. We have a top 20 on him at plus 145 on FanDuel. Thank you, FanDuel. It's like 30, 40 points more than every other book. As you can see, pretty much every single bet is in blue, apart from the black ones, which we will get to now. But that's all FanDuel. They have just incredible numbers on all the top placings all the time. They 90% of the time have the highest odds for any placing you're looking to go. So if you want to bet on placings and you want to only have one book, get FanDuel. And they were the people that placed the first round leader bets that we we took advantage of. They just have they don't care about golf betting. So they just put stuff out there, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, okay, here we go. Well, I guess people are taking advantage of us, so let's change that. So anyway, FanDuel, if you're looking for a bookie, I'm available. Come hire me. Xander Schauffele, he's a horse for course. He's got massive course history at this place. He is a ball striking phenom. That's why he's fourth in the model. But lately, he's off the tee. That's, his ball striking is what he's just, in general, he's a really good golfer, just across the board. I mean, look at that. Like 42nd. His worst stat on this board is 42nd, and that's his recent off the tee game. Sometimes, and that's the thing. This is a discussion I have with myself because I'm not a big course history guy. Do you want to go with a guy that's got like a really good course history, but his current form that is necessary to excel at this golf course is a little off? I know that I've gone to golf courses where my game hasn't been fantastic, but I go to a place that I like to play at, and all of a sudden you find a bit of confidence. You find something. It just happens. It's really tough to describe, but it's a thing. The California swing, there's a few guys that we like out there. Max Homa, Xander Schauffele, they all like these Cali kids. Same with, I think, Sam Burns. But anyway, we're just going to breeze over Xander. I don't like his off-the-tee game. Current off-the-tee game is a bit of an issue to me. And yes, I don't know. I mean, at 13%, maybe we go there a little bit, though. We'll see. See what happens. See what happens. But we're not talking about Xander for too long yet. We're going to Sam Burns, and he's our second top 20 bet, and he's our first-round leader on the North Course at plus 120 for a top 20 at a golf course where just everything about his game lines up. Around the green game is a bit of a problem, but he makes a lot of birdies. So when he's hitting the green, he's making birdies. When he's missing the green, it's a bit of a tough scene. But his bogey avoidance is really solid. That's what we're also looking for, is guys that don't make a lot of bogeys. Okay, so the best ranked guys in the bogey avoidance column at a golf course like the South Course, where it's super tough, you're not going to be making a lot of under par scores there. Bogey avoidance is it. That's what you're looking for. And yes, there's 4 par 5s on this golf course too. So anyway, yes, we're just going to keep doing the course preview pretty much throughout this entire show because that's just how I am. I'm sorry for that. So Sam Burns plus 120. When you see a black and gold number in there, it's on BetMGM. Ties are paid out in full. At plus 120, I think on FanDuel it was plus 140. Doesn't meet that 30 points difference in threshold. So if FanDuel gave me plus 160, we'll go there. No ties. Dead heat rules. Hit Russell Henley last week slightly. So we lost about half a unit or so. Nothing too crazy, though. And if you keep cashing in on the guys that you sacrificing those dead heat tie, the juice that they apply to it so that you can get your ties in full, paid in full. If you're super confident in your guys to finish inside the top 20, and I've seen a track record of this here, where if you're finishing inside the top 20 quite regularly, you can get hit with a dead heat rule sometime and then still make enough money over the long run because you're gaining, like, especially with FanDuel, their odds are so much higher. You can get like a full unit extra in profit on the same bet. So it's worth making a note of that. Daniel Berger, we spoke about him in the first round leader segment. He is just, look at this approach in the last 24 rounds. Incredible stuff. He's first in the field, and that includes Justin Thomas, Sam Burns, all these guys that just strike it. They absolute strike shows. So Daniel Berger coming in with just an incredible. The wife has just come home, so the dogs are going to start barking at any minute. She doesn't know I'm on the podcast, so who knows what's going on. She usually comes home later. It's just chaos here. We love it. It's okay. So Daniel Berger, he's just a guy that we like to have on our card, but there's nothing that really stuck out for him other than that first round leader bet. So I'm not even really going to, 14%. I like JT. I don't know. We'll see. I think JT's our guy up at the top of the board. We'll make our decision later tonight once the ownership numbers are almost finalized. Hideki Matsuyama, also, look at how he putts on POA, people. He is incredible when it comes to putting on POA. his putting game is just completely different. But at 17% and 10-6, that's a rough number, and it's a tough number that I'm looking to kind of avoid. And it just is what it is. But I just want you to know that, I mean, look at his approach game, look at his totals. Just everything apart from his putting is just incredible. When you think of a Hideki Matsuyama, you think of 277-yard par 3. Par 5 in the playoff where he just absolutely hit that 3-wood to just 3 feet. It was impressive as hell. So, yes, Hideki Matsuyama, just running through him there. Tony Finau is the same thing as Brandt Snedeker, and we spoke about him in the first round segment. He is just incredible when he comes to Torrey Pines. Somehow, he's always in contention, always inside the top 20, usually inside the top 10 of late. And I'm not a big course comparison guy, so we'll see how that works. But something that I have noticed about Tony Finau, looking at his stats leading up into all those massive finishes at Torrey, he was playing really well before then. He was gaining a lot of strokes. Leading into this tournament, he's got one of the lowest last 10, last 5 rounds of strokes gained total leading into this year's Farmers Insurance at Torrey. Okay. So if you are looking for a reason, I'm not playing him at 25% ownership. Sorry. We'll go elsewhere. We'll do other things. We have him in a first round leader. That's our exposure to Tony. I'm okay with that. I mean, you can see, look at the POA putting. He puts magnificently on POA. 60 spots better on POA than his baseline across all the other grass surfaces. So that's what we like about Tony, but I'm happy to fade him in DraftKings on DFS. $9,100, it does no favors. That's just going to load up the ownership there. So Tony Finau, we're going to give a skip. But yes, I mean, incredible course history. But if his form doesn't, that's what I was just thinking of, right? Is like, if his form isn't that impressive coming into this event, is he going to post that same result at this golf course he's absolutely crushed over his career? He did miss the cut at the US Open. We know that you can kind of compare the US Open form he had to what he currently is playing like. So maybe that's a out that you have there for yourself. Will Zalatoris coming in as our 9th ranked golfer here on Back 9 Bets, people. Welcome to the show. He's our 3rd top 20 bet at plus 140 with ties. There wasn't a big enough difference on FanDuel to jump to that. So they gave us a plus 140 for Will Zalatoris, the skinny stripe show machine. I mean, he just absolutely went off on that Tuesday, I believe, was it? Where he just made every single putt that he looked at and obviously kept himself looking at a lot of birdies with how well he strikes the golf ball. His approach game numbers are fantastic. His off the tee numbers are great. He's got some good distance. He's just every single stat about him, apart from putting, is great. And at 23%, happy to skip away from Will Zalatoris there. We like him as a top 20 guy. Lean on those ball striking numbers. If the putter works, he wins a goddamn tournament. If it doesn't, then he just finishes inside the top 20, hopefully. So we'll see what Willie Z can get up to. Don't like that he's not, maybe if he was a better putter on POA, we'd be okay with that. Sungjae Im, not much to talk about there. He's just been incredibly consistent of late. And I just tend to kind of skip over Sungjae in general. The same goes for Brooksy. Is he going to show up at a course that he dominated? He played really well at the US Open, but it was a US Open. Is he going to play that same type of golf at just the Farmers Insurance? He's been saying a lot of things that he wants to do better in the non-major events, but I don't believe him till he shows us what he can do. He didn't do good things for us at the Tournament of Champions, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, you'd feel like a course like that suits him, but anyway. Taylor Gooch, same thing. His off the tee game at this golf course is probably what separates him from everybody else above him, really. He hangs in there with everybody else in the other stats, but his off the tee game is a bit of a problem. And I think that's going to bite him at this event. Dustin Johnson. We haven't seen the big boy for a while, and we know he's got the length. We know he can play incredible golf. At his ceiling level, he can be one of the best guys on tour, obviously as a former world number one. Scary stuff. His last 24 rounds, his putter has been on fire. Absolutely on fire. And, just in general, he's a really good golfer. And at 8%, people, and he's going to take his incredible putting. So the fun thing about DJ is, I mean, his putting is ranked 52nd in this field. But if you take 23 away, that's top 30. And this is for 2020 and 2021 stats. So his recent form with the putter has been phenomenal. So if you take that and POA, oh my God, an 8% owned, the guy can hit it a million miles. Now, the only concern is the proximity ranges from that 175 to 250 is a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem. But I mean, he is a former world number one golfer. So I don't know what he can get up to there. It's definitely a play we're looking at, yeah. Dustin Johnson, some DFS GPPs. We're going to go there. Fourth top 20 golfer that we have, Keegan Bradley, plus 260 to finish inside the top 20. And what do we like about Keegan? Everything except for his putting. Everything except for Keegan's putting. As you can see, look at this filthy orange stuff over here. And, like some people have like bad stints with the putter, like the last 24 for these boys up top. Keegan is just consistently a bad putter across the board. However, the glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel is he does improve his putting from 125th to 104th on POA. So he's better. And at Torrey, he has had rounds where he pops with the putter. So Keegan Bradley, top 20, lean on the ball striking, plus 260. Love that, including ties. And Showdown, DFS, Magnet, everything. I'm going to keep going to Keegan there. If he has that one good round with the putter, that's one of the top guys you're going to have in your showdown slate because his ball striking is always going to be there for you. So that's what I like about Keegan. That's wanted to mention that to you guys. Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, all kind of brushing over those guys. Two of them are identical in their kind of game, where Jordan and Scotty like the tough golf courses, not the, some scrambling stuff around the green. I mean, Jordan's obviously the most impressive you can find. So anyway, moving on, not talking about those guys all that much. Aaron Wise is the 18th ranked golfer in my model. His last 24 rounds, he's 7th in this field of stud muffins. We got, look at these guys at the top of this leaderboard. John Rahm, Justin Thomas, Bryson, Sam Burns, Daniel Berger, Hideki. Aaron Wise is 7th in strokes gained total out of all of these people in the last 24 rounds. And his game is just incredibly solid across the board. So, 8%. I like him, $7,500. We're going to go to him a lot in that range. He's just got such a super solid game. The proximity ranges from the far irons, the long irons, a little bit of a concern. But I do think the rest of his game is built perfectly for this golf course. There's not a chink in his armor that can be exposed yet. So if something bad happens to him during the round, he has so many other facets of his game to lean on to keep him in the mix. So hopefully Aaron Wise is going to pay off for us. He is our second outright here on Back Nine Bets, baby. Second outright at 100-1. So just a baby sprinkle on him to freaking win this tournament, peeps. To win this damn tournament. So we just like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I got it right this time. And I'll never forget that phrase, because that is exactly what Aaron Wise does, is he just uses every little microscopic advantage he has in all of his aspects of the game and just makes his way up that leaderboard consistently. He's also our first round leader on the short course because we like him there too. So yes, Joachim Neiman, nice guy to have, 3% owned. Haven't seen him for a hot minute. He can definitely, 3% owned looks nice. Look at these three guys here. Joachim Neiman, Charlie Hoffman, and Cameron Tringali will definitely. So I guess just these four dudes right in the 7,500 range are going to be staples of Back Nine Bets DFS slates. Love them very much. Very cheap consistent-ish, apart from Charlie Hoffman, individuals. So Charlie Hoffman, though, he's a nice sneaky play. He's the cheapest of the bunch, understandably so. You know, the price getting knocked off a little bit because does he show up or not? If he does, hey man, you know, he could be looking at a top 20 quite easily. He's a lot of his game, as you can tell, look at his last everything's are rough. Get us back to that baseline. Get us back to Charlie Hoffman's baseline, and then we're talking serious business. Okay? Charlie Hoffman, Cameron Tringali, same thing. Super solid, kind of like Aaron Wise. Off the tee game, a little bit of a concern, obviously, but everything else about his game. Look at that bogey avoidance. Ooh, over 4 rounds, not making a lot of bogeys. He likes to putt well when he wants to. You know, just everything about his game sets up nicely for a tough course like this, I think, if he can keep it together off the tee. Ryan Palmer, okay, look at that. If there is anything you like about Ryan Palmer, look, that's probably why he does so well at Torrey all the time, because that's just everything that you need from that range. He's 4th in the field. It's incredible. That's a really impressive number there from Mr. Palmer. So almost like Arnold there, hey? Anyway, so 16% at 8,100, though. Probably not going to go there in DraftKings, but I don't know. It just is what it is. Maybe if he has a bad round or two, but still makes the cut, or has a bad first round, go back to him in showdown there with Ryan Palmer. Maverick McNeely, Max Homer, Luke List, kind of rushing over those guys. Each one of them have an incredible aspect of their game that they do like to take advantage of. Max Homer with the par 5s, Luke List just nuking it off the tee. And then Maverick McNeely almost Aaron Wise-ish in ways where he's just recently been playing incredible golf. Everything in the last 24 rounds seems to be less, like his approach and his ball striking, I guess you can say, have just been below his baseline going forward. So he's playing some good golf, reaching some nice form. I like Maverick McNeely, but good Lord, at 16% owned, I don't know. Happy to go with the guys that we just mentioned above over there. And then maybe like some of these guys down at the bottom, except for Matthew Wolff and Emiliano Grillo. I don't really like either of those guys anyway. So Mark Leishman has a really good track record. Yeah, his short game is phenomenal. Can lean on that a lot. And his irons have chances of flashing. Off the tee game could be a massive problem for Mark Leishman. Seems like it's getting a bit better, but I don't know. That's a concern for me. And at 16% owned, happy to give Mark Leishman a skip. Carlos Ortiz, we had him as our outright last week, and he burnt us. Just, I don't know. I don't know what his deal is. We took him at 80-1, so it is what it is. You're kind of probably getting that volatility baked into the price there. However, we will be going back to him at this golf course, $7,300, and he putts better on POA. His proximity ranges from the 175 to 250 are beautiful. He is a par 5 machine. He really, for this low down on the board, to have someone in the top 20 on par 5 scoring is important, because there are every course at Torrey that they will be playing has the 4 par 5s, which we can make those birdies, So if you're playing him in DFS, that's what you like to see is bogey here, birdie, bogey, Berger, birdie, birdie here, bogey there. It's net points, It's a birdie bogey combo is more than 2 pars. So embrace that with Carlos Ortiz. The same thing goes with Bryson and Sam Burns. Those 3 guys are the first people that come to mind, and possibly Keegan Bradley. Lots of birdies, a few bogeys here and there. Hopefully they can do well, keep the bogeys off the card, and move on. Emiliano Grillo, he's a model maniac menace. He just causes me issues. He seems to pop in every single aspect that you can look for. His off the tee game is nice. His approach game is nice. His proximity ranges from that distance, nice. Then you get to the green where his short game sucks. And it's let us down the last 2 times we bet on him recently for top 20s. just hasn't even come close. He just made the cut barely and then finishes last of other people that make the cut kind of thing. Top 40 at plus 250. We're going half a unit. Everything else is a unit. Emiliano Grillo's approaching blacklist status because I just feel like it's a money pit at this point. He's showing off to us, buying a nice appetizer and then our steaks coming out all burnt. So I'm not sure what's going on with Emiliano Grillo, and I want to see him play well so we can keep taking advantage of these nice numbers that they give us. Cool. Matthew Wolf is a guy I was looking at 60-61 for an outright. I don't know. I was part of him. I was part of the Wolf pack last week. He's got everything that you can ask for off the tee. His distance is incredible at a course like this. It's going to be a massive advantage. It's just, can he keep it in bounds? That's the thing with Matthew Wolf. So we'll see. Nothing else going on there. Skipping. We're going to go down past all these guys. Jonathan Vegas, look at this. Off the tee, just punishing it. Baseline and recent, just absolutely punishing it. So, and then obviously Tom Hoge, that's why I highlight these things, these different colors, so we can just speak quickly about Tom Hoge's last 24 rounds on approach. He's just been dialed. Absolutely dialed. And you can tell, 9% own Tom Hoge. We want to go there, but at 9%, that's a little rough. So, yes, hopefully first bad round and go to showdown. Showdown. Patrick Reed won this thing last year. Whether or not it was legally or not, who knows? Moving on from him, short game and putting for Patrick Reed, obviously, and Bezzy, fantastic stuff. Two guys to monitor there. Bezzy might not be a bad play in DraftKings, actually. Off the tee game, rough. Very rough. Short, little errant at times, but the rest of his game, incredible. Around the green and putting. I mean, he's a Patrick Reed light that doesn't cheat. So, yes. I mean, isn't it funny that these two guys are almost identical in a lot of aspects of their game? So, I do like Bezzy over Reed there. If you're looking at that 83 to 87,000 buck range, Bezzy's probably not a bad play at 3%. Now, the power putting, he regresses quite badly on it, but I mean, he's still in. 89 is a lot. That's a rough thing. I don't know. It is what it is. We're going to just keep going down the board. Hayden Buckley let us down. We were heavy on Hayden Buckley last week at the American Express, and he kind of let us down a little bit. So it's okay. It is what it is. He made us 3.5 units the week before when he finished inside the top 20 at plus 700. So now with a bit more stacked field, he's kind of been pushed down the leaderboard a bit, and his numbers have regressed slightly after a few bad rounds at the American Express. So his numbers have kind of stabilized to a certain degree. Still looking for a lot more numbers from him there to get the sample size to a manageable and confident amount. However, at plus 360 to finish inside the top 40, Hayden Buckley is our guy. Everything about his game is nice for this golf course apart from the proximity numbers, but good putter, good short game, good bogey avoidance, decent par 5 scoring, all the stuff we like to see from Hayden Buckley, plus 360 for a top 40. Yes, give me all of that. Hank Lebioda is our final bet in the top 40s. He is at plus 400 to finish inside the top 40, and he finished freaking 49th last week. So that was a little rough, and there are reasons to not like Hank Lebioda, but I mean, and by the way, Hayden Buckley and Hank Lebioda in the $6,000 range is a green light for me. Going there a lot. Hank Lebioda finished just outside the top 40 last week, so he almost cashed for us at plus 250, but somehow did not. So hopefully he can do it again, but at plus 400, it's a bit of a dart. But if him and Buckley finish inside the top 40, one of them, we're looking pretty for the week. So with seven bets plus 400, you only have 6 bets left, and you've already made 4 units, and we've only bet 5.5 units. So we can, if Hank Lebioda finishes inside the top 40, the worst we can do on placings this week is losing 1.5 units. And, we've got Bryson and Sam Burns and Will Zalatoris up top. So hopefully those are the guys that carry us the most. And then Hank can sneak in, and the same with Hayden. So hopefully they can do good things for us. And then finally, our third outright, I don't know about Justin Rose. His baseline statistics are a little iffy, but if you look at his last 24, he's trending. Top 24, last strokes gained total, last 24, 17th in this field. So he's way down the board, obviously because of his historic stats, 70th, in stroke gained total. But his approach game has been trending nicely. Look at those proximity numbers. Delicious to look at. 11th in this field. So far down the board, ideal. He's a great putter. And around the greens, bogey avoidance is a bit of an issue. But if he's playing well with the irons, with the driver, even his driver is doing okay relative to his baseline. He's doing much better. He putts a little bit better on POA, and we're going to go there. We're going to go there with Justin Rose at 80-1. So we're going with Bryson at 22, and then 2 long shots, kind of, with guys that have potential. Justin Rose has won here before, so I do like that about this course. His game seems to be going in the right direction. We saw him at the Masters, where he pretty much lost it off the tee and lost it into the greens, but scrambled his way around that golf course. And then when he did hit the greens, his putting is so beautiful that he just made all those birdies and just had that incredible back 9 on the first day. So that's what we like about Justin Rose, South African born. He's got all the right organic compounds inside of his body. Now he speaks like a pommy. It is what it is. However, 10% owned. I don't know, mate. We went there with the outright. We just dealt with that. 10% is rough. So, yeah. That's what's going on here on episode 3, Back 9 Bets, Bergers, Grillo'd, Hoge sandwiches. I hope you guys had some fun checking out what's going on this week. A few guys that we like, obviously we've gone through all of that stuff. Not going to bore you more with that. And just, thank you for tuning in, y'all. Go give, if you're watching on Twitter, please go check me out on YouTube. Give me a subscribe there. We want people to go to the channel so they can see I'm not like a weirdo and only have 5 subscribers. So moving on with that, thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week, and stay tuned.